Hey everyone, and welcome to Physics 1105 Lab. I'm Professor Shank. I'm a physics professor here at Randolph College. So I thought I'd give you a quick rundown of our class. This is the class Moodle page. So when you log in, you can go to randolph.moodle.com, and then you'll find a login where you have to log in with your Randolph College credentials, and then you'll see this page. And you'll probably also see the lecture page if you're taking the lecture at the same time. Okay, so there are a bunch of things here in the beginning, which are things like the syllabus and lab manual site. You'll see as we go through, I'm going to go through one of the labs, that the manuals are on another website. And there's a bunch of things like the oral video lab rubric. Your very first lab is going to be a video lab report that you make for me. And then things like the formal lab rubric and contents of the lab kits. So if you are taking 1105, you only, right, you are going to be getting a lab kit if you haven't gotten one already. If you are taking 1105 and plan on taking 1106, you might get a lab kit that is both courses. Some of you may even be taking these concurrently, which you can do. Okay, anyway, so let me just give you some information about contacting me. Now, we do have office hours, but the best way to get a hold of me quickly is to text my cell phone. So be aware that if you text me after 9 Eastern time, I may not get right back to you, but texting me is the best way to ask questions because you can get a quick answer. Okay, here is the schedule, and you can see here we have a bunch of stuff on the schedule. So first of all, every lab has a pre-lab that's due before the lab. Now, notice how this works. We have a pre-lab that is due before the suggested day to do the lab activities. Now, this is an asynchronous lab. So what that means is that you're not going to be sitting on Zoom with me, right? But we do have a schedule. Things are due at a particular time, and we suggest that you do the lab activities on a particular day. So for instance, the very first lab, we suggest that you do it on the 14th of July. I know this class is very fast. And if you do those activities, or at least attempt to do them, then you will be in decent shape to go and turn in the video report that's due by the 16th, right? So you can see everywhere you see green are the suggested days to do the lab activities. And every lab, again, has a pre-lab, which is a quiz on Moodle, and then it has some kind of report. So the first lab has a video report. That just means you talking on video, showing me your data, right? You can use a PowerPoint, whatever you'd like to use. But that is the only oral or video report we're going to have. The other reports, there's two other kinds. One is informal, like lab 2. Informal reports are simply reports that are quizzes on Moodle. You don't have to write a formal lab report like you might have done in chemistry or something, right? That is reserved for the formal written reports. And formal written reports, there's 3 of them, and the rest are, this one says formal, but it's actually informal, number 9. So there's 3 formal reports and the rest are informal, and then 1 video report, right? So that's kind of how this works. So let's take a look at lab 1. Now, each lab has its own section on Moodle. As you can see, there are, we have the name of the lab, we have the type, right? Formal, oral, doesn't say video, but it's video. Is the lab kit required? No. So we put that there because some of you may not have gotten your lab kit. And then there's a bunch of stuff to do in a to-do list. On lab 1, there are a lot of things that we do as preliminaries to the lab. So for instance, there's the intro to class quiz. There's, right, the Excel quiz, a statistics quiz, a significant figures quiz. And one of these is considered the pre-lab. The statistics is the pre-lab. And then you have to submit this oral video report, right? Review the contents of the lab kit, etc. So there's a bunch of stuff that you have to do for lab 1's work. And then there's usually an intro video that gives you a rundown of the lab and a link to the manual. So I'm going to open this up and show you what this looks like. and we'll go here. So it looks like this. This is the statistics, the very first lab. It has a bunch of different sections. It has the pre-lab, but you're going to do that on Moodle. It says right here, go to Moodle. And it has the procedure, etc., right, of what to do. Okay, so each lab will have something like that. All right, let's go back to here and back to lab 1, intro and statistics. Okay, so that's what lab 1 looks like. And just to give you an idea, lab 2 has less stuff because it doesn't have all that intro to class. All right, so I hope that's enough to get you started. Make sure that you text me for questions, etc. Note here on lab 2, just to point out that there's sometimes will be extra videos to help you with little pieces of the lab. This one has an extra video to show you how to use the linest function, and how to do the combined error, etc. So there's a lot of little extra stuff that you might see in your lab area. Okay, well, I will hopefully hear from some of you with questions. And I hope that you have an easy time getting started with the lab, and make sure to keep on top of it because, of course, there's a lot going on in the lab. Okay, we'll see you in lab, virtually, that is.